would you like to just introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit more about you?
Yes, so I am Serena and I am a business and mindset coach. I help coaches and service providers basically to start and scale your business in a way that feels really fun and really aligned for you through really aligned strategies for marketing and sales, so that you can sign consistent clients and create more freedom and
Fantastic.
income.
And that is why we are so aligned in having you on the team as one of our head coaches inside of Launch to Freedom. But today we're going to be talking a little bit more about that freedom piece and what that looks like for maybe newer business owners or business owners who've been in business for a while, but they've kind of created a little bit of a monster where they feel trapped in their business and like they don't even know how they're going to be able to create more freedom, create more flexibility in their lives. So I know that you've got quite a cool story of how you shifted from having that corporate mindset, that mindset of working 9 to 5, of only having 20 days per year holiday, and you really had to work on that mindset, didn't you, and shift it into a more freedom mindset. Do you want to just talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it really was a journey that I didn't really expect in business. Like I thought, you know, I I started my business for freedom. Like we were talking yesterday about what we were going to talk about today, and I said to you, you know, my corporate 9 to 5, you know, 20 days holiday, but actually that's not true at all. Like I did not work 9 to 5. I started at like 8, left my house at 7, like worked till 8, and then got home at 9. Like they were the hours that I was working, and I don't even know if it was 20 days holiday because I never got to take them all, because I just had you just had no control. We were too busy to ever be off. So I really started my business for freedom, and I know that that is such a general word and it means different things to everyone. Like it was freedom to go away when I wanted to go away, but also just freedom of like choice and like being able to take time off and like just control over things that I wanted to do. So that's why I started the business. And when you start a business, like your mind is really in, okay, so I'm gonna figure out all the things I need to figure out, like for, you know, the foundations, the client, the offers, putting those out there, signing clients. What I didn't expect was like having actually to come across these mindset blocks that I had about taking time off. Like you think that that's really, really easy. So I really brought my like corporate mindset into my business for the first year, and I couldn't believe it. I was like working 8 till 8 still. And it's really important. I know we're going to talk about this anyway, about like the power of like consistency, and like it's really important to work in business to create the freedom. But I did find that I was sometimes just filling time. Like I was using the needle movers, but also feeling like, well, if I don't sit here till 8, then like maybe I won't create that success. And I found it really hard to come out of that. So I probably did that for like the first year, didn't I? And I don't know if you remember, in the first year, I took about a day and a half off, which is like ridiculous. We were in lockdown at the time, so like there wasn't really much to do anyway. The lockdown era
was like a really weird time because, like you said, there was nothing else to do. So sometimes it was like, well, I may as well. I love what I do. I love my business. I may as well work on it. But I think then when lockdown lifted and actually you had all this freedom, it's like, oh, but now I've got myself into this routine and I feel like I can't break away from it. Because you did start your business in lockdown, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly. And you're so right in that like when you love something so much, like I actually really enjoyed on a Sunday morning doing some work on my coaching business. Like I absolutely loved it. And like there wasn't anything else to do, was there? We weren't allowed to do anything. But then when it got to us, you know, being allowed to go out, I remember feeling like the guilt of, should I do this at the weekend? Like, should I, you know, do this in the evenings? Or like, can I take that Friday off? Like, I found it really, really hard. And it took me a long time to release that. I know that because we were working together at the time, weren't we? And like, it kept coming up. And I'm finding it really hard. And I really had to work on that mindset that like, if I just worked normal hours in my business, that was actually enough. And it wasn't about doing more. It was about spending my time on the things that was actually going to move me forward. And I knew what those were, but there was just those extra thoughts that were keeping me at my desk an extra hour. So there were a few things, if anyone's experienced this, I know that so many people do, like, so if anyone's experienced this, I was I would find evidence of all the results that had come in
I
without me
remember
pushing.
when we
So
used to set little
those
challenges
times
to you, didn't we? And you'd go and get your nails done. You'd be like, oh my God, someone's inquired to work with me. Or, oh my God, someone's just paid an invoice. Or, oh my God, someone just bought my course. And we'd be like, you see, the less you work, the more successful you can be.
exactly, like those moments were like just, you know, groundbreaking to me at the time. I was like, I can do these things, and like, you know, results still come in. And I always remember there was a time when I was on my way to my friend's house, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's like 4 p.m. I've like taken the afternoon off,
Yeah.
and I was in traffic, and a sale for my online course came in, and I was like, this is
Absolutely.
what it's about.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. So like finding evidence of like results can come in when you're not pushing, and it wasn't the overworking that was creating the results, it was doing the right work at the right time. That was really important. And then really focusing on like consistent needle moving action instead of just, there's so much stuff we can do, isn't there? But like actually just focusing on the things that move us forward. And then the other thing, then the last thing to do was testing it out. So I think the first big test for me was I booked a last minute holiday to Dubai for like a week or two after that's when I saw you. And I booked it, and I was like scared. I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I would even have time to do this in my corporate job. And it was just the best feeling ever to be able to say to myself, I can do this, have that control that I could do it. And also like financially being able to do that as well felt amazing as well. And then I realized when I went, nothing bad happened in the business. Like actually, I don't know if you remember, I brought in like 11 leads from one story, because my story views went up because I wasn't in my flat. Like people were like loving seeing me on holiday. Like, so it can actually really help your business.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. I wanted to talk about that today as well, that actually when you create that life that you want to live, like you've just said, and you go on these holidays, or you go to the gym in the afternoon, or go get your nails done, or whatever it might be, you can actually start to create more success in your business because you are acting from a place of living that life, rather than being like, oh, I'll only be able to do these things when, or I'll only be able to do these things if. And like you've just said, a very valid point, I notice this all the time. If I'm in a new environment, or I'm doing something that's quite exciting, it's not just being sat at home and just filming stories like I always do, story views will go through the roof. And it's actually a really good time to put little strategies in place. Not that if you're going on holiday, you've got to be working 24/7, but just like really simple strategies. You're probably going to be on stories anyway. You're probably going to be posting about being at the beach, or having a sundowner cocktail, whatever that might be, or wherever you go on holiday. I don't know, maybe you're skiing. But if you're going to be posting anyway, you may as well make those stories work for you, and actually, again, see that evidence that when you are away, you can continue to grow your business and can continue to make sales. And it's really fun as well. Like, just, there's no pressure. If you get sales from it, amazing. Like, how good would that feel? But if you don't get any sales, never mind, you've just built up some more brand awareness, you've probably built up some more engagement, you've probably grown your audience from being away. So there's so many advantages to actually just living that life now, rather than waiting until you've reached a certain milestone.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And it's such an empowering feeling, isn't it? Like, even though you are on holiday, like you said, like, you're still enjoying yourself, but even though you're putting up some stories, like, it's so empowering to feel like, I can be here sitting on a sun lounger, you know, recovering from jet lag, and be like, you know, working at the same time and still making money, still making sales. Like, I've had the freedom to do this, and it's a way for your audience to get to know you. And I think that's why your views go up so much, because they're not just seeing you in like work mode and getting the value from you. That's like one part that they want to see, isn't it? But they want to see more of you as well, and they get to see that when you're on holiday and enjoying your life and seeing like the power of having a business. Like, that's really inspirational. So yeah, because I was saying to you the other week, like, it was when you were in Thailand, I was like, Amy, I am binging your stories. I wake up and I can't wait to see what you've done in the day.
They
like,
really
people
do. They really do. And you know, if you think about the type of content you like to watch, do you like to just watch people at home all the time posting the same stories all the time? Probably not. You're going to get so used to seeing that, you probably start to tap through. But when somebody's in a new environment, or someone's really loving what they're doing, or they're experiencing something a little bit different, it draws you in even more and it makes you want to pay more attention. So what I would say about that is, like, yes, live that life, but I think there's also a big narrative of that you don't really have to put in the work to be able to get there. And what I really want to talk about today as well is creating a business that fully supports the life you want to live all of the time, and not just having to book like one random trip and like, oh, that's all I can afford to do. Like, if you want to create a life and business that allows you to, you know, travel whenever you want or do these amazing experiences and have these amazing experiences, then you need to have a business set up and those foundations set up to be able to support you. And I think you'll probably know what I'm talking about. There's so many people online who are like, it's so easy and like, yeah, like just whatever. But there are some certain things that need to be in place to allow you to have that business that supports the lifestyle that you want to live. So I know we're going to touch on consistency. Like, why do you feel consistency is so important in business?
It's so important. And like, I was talking before about how, like, you know, I didn't really take that many holidays in the beginning and I, you know, could have taken more time off. But one thing I don't regret about that time, like, definitely should have taken more time off. And last year proved, you know, I took more holidays than ever. Like, last year I took more holidays than I've ever taken in a year, yet still had a really successful year. It was the most successful year I've had. So you can have both. But in the times that I was working, I was super consistent, yes, but with the things that mattered. I'd really spent a lot of time the year before laying those foundations. And I think what you're describing, it's so true, isn't it? There's so many narratives out there about, you know, building a business that, you know, gives you freedom where, you know, you start it and you work an hour a day and, you know, you can just go on all of these holidays and never really have to work. And you can definitely build a business that gives you so much freedom, but those foundations are so important in the beginning. And I think that when we hear these narratives a lot, sometimes people have too much of a focus on like the short-term goals. They're like, well, I want to make this much money in an hour, or I want to, like, you know, they're too focused on, I just need to sign a client or I need to sign the next client. But when you really focus on actually, like, we're not here for businesses for one holiday or for a day or a week. Like, we're here, or Christmas, like, we're here for businesses for life, aren't we? Like, years and years and years. Like, I want us to be like on lives when we're going grey. Like, so we'll be doing it for years. And when you can focus on like a long-term business, you focus on just signing the next client. It's more about like laying the foundations to build an audience that trusts you and are full of ideal clients, and becoming known for what you do, and, you know, creating messaging and marketing and sales that attracts and converts, and like learning how to launch. Like, when you have those foundations, you're building a business for the long term that gives you that like sustainability and that freedom where you can take holidays because you're really focusing on creating results that last a really long time, rather than just like thinking about the next few days.
Absolutely. You know, I think what a lot of people seem to think this coaching world is a get rich quick scheme. And a lot of people join the coaching world and think, I'm going to be a coach because they want to make all this money. That is the completely wrong reasons to be in this industry. It's all about, first and foremost, creating a business that lights you up, that creates results for your clients, that, you know, really brings you so much joy and fulfillment, and allows you to create a lifestyle that you've always dreamed of. I think if you're just going into this with, I just want to be able to travel the world and make loads of money and that's it, this is probably the wrong business for you, because it does take time and it does take effort, it does take consistency to build it to a point that will then allow you to live that lifestyle. And I think a lot of people want to miss out that really important step and just jump to the luxury holidays or whatever it might be. But there is work that needs to be put into place to allow you to get there. And it is all about that consistency and building those really strong foundations, which is something that we help people with in Launch to Freedom, isn't it? Like, if we just go back to, you know, the 6-month coaching program that we've got, Launch to Freedom, and think about the clients that are in there, they joined that to be able to create their dream lives and have more freedom and flexibility. But there's a lot of steps that need to go into this to help them to create that business. So if you think back to maybe some of the clients that we've been working with in Launch to Freedom, what would you say is the number one thing that they need to work on first, like in that program, to get them to where they want to be?
It's the first thing that we look at is those foundations. It's looking at like, okay, what are my skills? Like what makes me special? And who is my client and what are the offers? Like those are really the first things that we look at with everyone. Like if you start without knowing any of those things or being clear on any of those things, it's like trying to take action without like opening your eyes, like, or being able to see anything. Like it's really, really difficult. Yeah. It's the first thing that we do look at. And like with Launch to Freedom, like when people really, really master that part, and then they master like the next step, which is like starting to get that out there, like with a really clear message. Like we've seen clients who've been signing amazing clients before they've even launched. So it really is about enjoying that whole process. Like sometimes it's so important to focus on the goal, but if we sometimes focus too much on like, you know, the end goal and where we want to get to, and don't enjoy every single step and like loving every single step, like you kind of lose a lot of fun with it. But when you do focus on it, you get amazing results. And like that's what we've really seen, isn't it? That they've been getting results before they've even got to the point where they're actually selling. A lot of
people when they first join, they've maybe got an Instagram page or social media and they're posting on there. But then when we ask them about like, so what is it that you do? Who is it that you help? Tell me about your offer. They really struggle to verbalize that. Like they're not sure. They don't have that clarity, and which means they don't then have the confidence to be able to show up with that authenticity and authority to really be known for what they do. And sometimes people think, you know what, I've got it all together. I know what I'm doing. I know about my offer. But when we really start to unpack that and look at it, they're like, oh my God, like I thought I had all this together, but actually I didn't. Like I just threw it together and hoped that, you know, a few social media posts would enable me to make all these sales and enable me to grow this business. And I think, again, that is the thing that a lot of people skip, isn't it? In the earlier days of business, especially.
100%. And like sometimes it is about just that like tweak of messaging, because like it's super important to be posting and have a presence, and we talk about that all the time, like building that visibility. But when we make those like tweaks to messaging, like how they're speaking to the client, like it can just unpack so many results really quickly, which is amazing, because it's a way that you speak to people. Whereas like if you keep taking the action, you're posting and posting and posting, but not really sure who to, you kind of know, but you can't really articulate it properly. Like if you're not sure, your audience aren't sure. So like that clarity piece is so important in the beginning.
So if anyone is watching this right now and they're maybe newer in business or just starting out, what is the advice that you would give to someone? Let's say if they were, you know, they started this business to travel the world and work from anywhere, or they started this business so they didn't just have to take 20 days holiday per year, they wanted to be able to have time off whenever they wanted. What would be the first things that you'd get them to work on?
Oh my gosh, where to start? The first thing I would get you to work on is that clarity piece. So first, please work on the clarity, like what you want to do, who you want to help, and how you want to help them. Like get yourself super clear on that. I'm really loving seeing Amanda's comments. So Amanda's she's like messaging, because we've been working on messaging this week. So yeah, the messaging, like the clarity in that part. And I would definitely say like the mindset shifts. So like the mindset shifts in your own confidence in what you do, in what's possible for you, in like in your knowledge. Like that's super important, because that's going to help you to take the action. Like it's super important to do the marketing and selling and all of those things, but when you start with the confidence, that becomes so much easier, and that you don't have those blocks of like, oh, is this going to land? Our client's going to sign? Like you want to remove those in the beginning. And then the last piece, which isn't so strategic, you know, I love strategy, like just enjoy every single step of the way. Like really enjoy those foundational parts. Like enjoy being consistent, because like you build a business to do something that you love. When we're in corporate, some people love their job, but like, you know, when you have a business, you're there for everything. Like you want to love what you do, you want to love having time off, you want to love like serving clients and supporting people. And when you can enjoy every single step of the way, actually that goal comes so much sooner and so much quicker. So I would definitely say like enjoy every single step. Like enjoy the building, enjoy being a beginner, like enjoy being a newbie, and learning and getting things wrong and enjoy the failures. So I would definitely say that would be my
Oh,
third piece of advice for newbies.
So good. And I guess it comes full circle to what we talked about in the beginning, where, you know, you found yourself sitting at your laptop, you just kind of created another job for yourself because you were focusing on maybe the things that weren't going to move the needle. And I think as a newbie, when you're not really sure on what steps to take and what's really going to get you the best result, it's so easy just to stay stuck there for so long. And this is why having support in your business earlier on is so important. So you're not just sat there guessing or throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks, that you've actually got people that can help you to pull this information out and then have a plan and a strategy to follow. So you do know what to be focusing on. So you're not just spending all of your days guessing and trying things and, you know, trying a million different strategies and not really getting anywhere. And I think this is why we've put together the Freedom Method retreat that's coming in, not next week, the week after. It starts on the 27th, which is our completely free online business and mindset retreat. And it is for people who really want to create that life of freedom for themselves and to have a business that fully supports that. But maybe it's for people who, you know, their business just isn't where they want it to be right now. They're focusing on all of the wrong things. And even people who've had success in the past, but for some reason, things are just not working for them anymore. And they're like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? I found myself falling back into old habits and old routines. We've put together this 3-day retreat to help people specifically with those things. So like we've mentioned, that mindset piece and getting really clear on what it is you actually want your life and business to look like. So that vision of what are you working towards? Because I think as well, some people aren't really clear on that when they begin, and especially when you start a business in lockdown, it's so hard to think about what life looks like outside of lockdown, isn't it?
100%, yeah, definitely. Like that is actually probably one of the things maybe I'd missed out from like the first things to do as like a newbie is really getting that support, like getting the support from people who have done it and surrounding yourself with people who've done it who know a method like this. Like if I take myself back to 2.5 years ago when I started, like if I had tried to go it alone, then, you know, I definitely wouldn't be here today with the business that I had. I remember starting to follow you, and I remember going to your freebies. Like
Become a money magnet.
Yes, it was a 3-day event again, wasn't it? I think it was it was a challenge. So I went to your freebies. Like I started to become familiarized with like the methods that you talked about, and I was like, these are the things that are important, and that really helped me to see the things that I needed to focus on in the beginning. And then like actually getting the support from you, I remember I invested in you actually before I started the business officially, and I was like, I'm getting this lined up for when I actually officially start. And like it was the best decision to make sure that I was focusing on those needle movers, probably in the hours I should have been working in the day. And then, you know, the mindset blocks came up and I stayed.
We did.
But we overcame those. But that really helped me in the big, like right from the start. So yeah, definitely. Like if anybody is here and they either are like in that newer stage or even like further along, but still feeling a bit lost, like they aren't focusing on the right things, like definitely go to this retreat because I know what's inside, and you and Chris do not hold back with the things that are there, and you're really going to focus on those things that you need to focus on in the beginning so that you aren't wasting time on like there's so many things that you can do that will not really get you anywhere, but when you focus on the strategies that actually move you forward, like you can get to that freedom so much quicker.
So on day 2 we're actually sharing our top 3 high impact strategies, and when we were putting this together we were like, oh my God, if people just follow even one of these strategies, their business will dramatically improve. And we're putting 3 of those strategies in there on day 2, and then on day 3 we're walking you through our freedom method. So, you know, we've been in business now for coming up to 6 years. I've been freelancing way over 6 years now, but since I started Social Cactus, and you know, we've been able to build a multi-6-figure per year business that now allows us that freedom to travel the world. And you know, we've created the business in a way that really aligns with that lifestyle that we want to live, because back in the lockdown days, my calendar, I am not kidding, it was just slammed with calls all of the time. And like we've just said, there was nothing else to do, so I was just like, it's fine. As soon as lockdown ended, I was like, what the hell? Like, this isn't the life that I want to live. I'm just always on calls. And now we've built the business in a way that I barely have any calls in the week now, which now, you know, I can work on building the business, or I can just go off and do whatever the hell I want. But that's taken time to get there. But we're going to walk people through our freedom method of how we've been able to get to this point. And that's going to be on day 3. And it's completely free. So there's no charge for this retreat. It's completely for free. People can sign up at link in bio. Oh no, you've got a link as well that you'll be able to share with people as well.
I will be sharing that as well, because it's so important to get this support. And like, even though it is free, there's so many freebies out there where you're like, did I learn anything? But I've been to, well, obviously a lot of yours, and you really do give strategies that people can, you know, really implement and get results from, because they're things that are really tangible that they can start doing now in business. So yes, I'll be sharing your link as well. Obviously yours is up on your bio, isn't it? But I would definitely say, like, if anybody's watching this, like, definitely go to this, because there's so much that you're going to be able to gain from it. And
we've also got some little bonuses as well for people who sign up. So not only do you get the free retreat, we're also doing a number of free one-to-one breakthrough sessions before the retreat starts. So if you sign up soon or sign up now, there is still a couple of those calls available. And we've also got a pre-retreat ritual, which we're dropping next week, so people can get primed and ready ahead of the retreat starting on the 27th. So it's packed full of life-changing value. So get yourself signed up if you haven't already. And also the last thing that I want to share is that we will be opening up the doors to Launch to Freedom in a couple of weeks. And we are just so excited to bring in a new group of amazing service providers and coaches, because our current round is coming to an end. And I'm so sad, because they have been amazing, haven't they? They've had the most amazing wins. Did you see Diane yesterday? She signed a client. Gemma signed a client this week as well. It's all going on.
It's all going on. Honestly, like, I was sad too, and I was like, Amy, when is the next round starting? Because it is just like, the people in there are so incredible, but we have so much fun together. It's like being part of a family, and like, whatever stage of business you're in, whether you are right at the start or whether you're like a few months in or a year in, like, it's so important to have that community, like, have the support with the strategy and like all of the things that are in there. But when you're surrounded by people who are going through the same journey as you, supported by coaches, all of the support, like with the experts for 6 months, like, it's absolutely invaluable. So yeah, so excited. I cannot wait for the next round. I can't wait for the retreat. Literally, I'm signing up.
The retreat is going to be so good. Like, me and Chris have been working through this for a number of weeks now, and every day we're like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, I wish that I'd have had something like that when I was just starting. It would have saved me many years of headaches and trial and error. So we just cannot wait to bring this to the world. It starts on the 27th of March. Like we said, it's completely free to sign up. So Serena, thank you so much for joining. I feel like we just talked then. It felt like 5 minutes, but it's been half an hour.
We could talk all day, which we'll probably get off here.
Oh my God, we have to share this. Yesterday, Serena and I spoke on Instagram, Zoom, Voxer, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and email.
Yeah. In all the ways, like, we definitely speak to each other more than, like, I speak to you more than
Chris, like, and he's here.
I love that. But yeah, we just talk all the time, and this is how fun it is inside the programs as well. It is like family.
It really is a cactus family. So thank you so much, Serena. What have you got going on at the minute, actually? Do you want to share something that you've got going on?
Yes. So, like, I, as you can tell from this live, love to chat. So come and say hi to me. I'm sure that Amy's going to tag me in here. So just come and say hi. I love to connect with people. And if you'd like to know more about working with me, you can head to the link in my bio. Just
the retreat link from you as well.
Yes. And I'll be posting the
fabulous. Well, Serena, thank you so much. Have a wonderful Friday. Let's see how many methods and platforms we can speak to each other on today. We've done Instagram Live. We've done Instagram. What else? What else can we do today?
I'll see you via pigeon very soon.
Have a wonderful weekend, everyone that is watching, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.